Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to the last of this week's startup sessions. And all week this week, I have been covering the subject of email subject lines and how you can improve yours to get more people to open your emails and more people to see your stuff. Ultimately, more people to buy from you. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Colette Broomhead, and I'm an online startup strategist, which basically means that I work with new online business owners, sometimes people who haven't actually started at all yet, they just know they want to. And I help them to get to the point where they are replacing their 9 to 5 income and can quit their 9 to 5 for good. And the reason I do that is because it's exactly what I did myself. So I come from a 13-year corporate career. I worked for a FTSE 30 company, and I got to the point where I knew I wanted more. I wanted more time with my family. I've got 2 gorgeous little boys. I wanted more creative freedom, more time freedom, more location freedom, more freedom, I think it's safe to say. And so I started my own business. And now my absolute passion and drive is to help as many other people do the same, because it has been a life-changing thing to do, to actually every day get up knowing that I'm doing what I love, that I get to do the school run for my boys. In fact, just this morning, I was able to go to a special assembly at my youngest little boys, for my youngest little boys class, where he was given an award, and it was like super special. And there was a time where I wouldn't have been able to do that because of my job. So that's what I want for as many other people as possible, and so that's my kind of my drive and my purpose. And if you are new to this page, then huge welcome to you. This page is where I go live usually 2 to 3 times a week, and I share tips and tricks to help you grow your own business. Each week, each month, we cover different topics. And this month in November, we've been talking about all things email. And like I said, in particular, this week, email subject lines. So before I get into the good stuff, I am actually just going to share this over to my Facebook group, Business Class. If you're not already a member of Business Class, then you should definitely get yourself over there. Of course, it's specifically for new online business owners. So if you are just starting out, if you're not yet earning consistent income from your business, then you are going to love it in there. It's a super friendly community, and there's tons of good kind of chats and business help going on. So get yourself over there. Okay, so I'm going to share this into a group. Okie dokie. Right, let's dive in. So if you haven't seen my lives from earlier this week, I shall whiz you through what you've missed. Although for more detail, obviously go back and check out those lives directly. First of all, I talked about why it's so important to get your subject lines right. I talked about the fact that potentially your email subject lines are about the most important pieces of copy that you will write for your business. And that sounds perhaps a little over dramatic, but let me explain why. Email marketing is still really the most powerful way to reach your potential customers and to sell to them. There's a lot of talk about email being dead, but the fact is it still has 3 times the reach of any social media channel, including Facebook. And it has a return on investment, ROI, of around $44 for every dollar spent. So not to be sniffed at, certainly not dead. So email marketing is a key tool in your marketing box. And if it isn't, it needs to be. And if you're not sure how to get started, let me know, because I've got a whole ton of resources on how you can get started with email marketing. But your emails will never be read if you cannot get your subject lines right. You can put all that effort into the email itself, spend ages crafting the perfect copy, the perfect design, and all of that good stuff. But if your subject lines are not enticing people to open your emails, then it's all a big waste of time. So it is really, really important that your email subject lines are pulling their weight and doing their job, which is to get as many people as possible to open that email. So on Monday, I went live and I shared a couple of tips. The first tip was all about emojis and how studies have shown that actually including an emoji or even several emojis in your subject lines will boost open rates because it's a pop of color, it stands out in people's inboxes, it just makes your email kind of pop out at people in that kind of sea of text. So even if you might be a bit like, not sure I like using emojis, give it a go because you might be pleased with the results. The second tip that I shared was all around personalization. We are designed to naturally see our own names more clearly, more easily than normal other words, kind of generic words. Things like our names, our hometowns, our birth towns, all of that stuff pops out at us because it's about us. And we all love to see stuff about us. So if you are including people's first names or other kind of personal details about people in your subject lines, that subject line is going to jump out at someone much more than just a generic subject line about any old thing. So give that a go as well. A bit of personalization always helps. Then I went live again, I think it was Wednesday, and I chatted about the open loop. So the open loop is basically where you are creating some kind of curiosity because we're all nosy. We all, again, are naturally designed to seek the answer to a question that's asked. So creating an open loop could be as black and white as just asking a question in your subject line so that people have to click to find the answer, but it can be just creating a bit of mystery, being a bit of a tease. So kind of giving people half the story, but they have to click that email, they have to open that email to get the rest of it. So that's creating an open loop. And for more on that, do go and check out Wednesday's live because I give you more examples and talk a bit more in depth about the open loop. The next tip I shared was all around word count. So there's a lot of discussion about how long, how many words, how many characters is the perfect email subject line. And the fact is there have been tons and tons of studies, and the studies have given us tons and tons of different answers. And that's probably because it depends. It depends on a lot of other factors. It depends on your audience. It depends on the words that you've used. It depends on the time that you sent the email and all of tons of other stuff. So there's a few things it's worth considering when it comes to your word count or your character count. For example, how long your subject line needs to be in order to fit in the preview pane, especially on someone's mobile phone. That's usually no more than around 50 characters. You also might want to consider that generally studies have shown that between 5 and 8 words tends to be the sweet spot. But my main point when I talked about word count was really that actually don't get het up over it, because chances are there's a lot more important stuff going on in your subject line that you should be focusing on over word count and character count. The next tip that I shared, and I really struggled to say this, let's hope I can say it today, exclusivity. There we go. On Wednesday, I struggled with that one. So basically, getting across the idea that there is something exclusive in this email, that your reader, your subscriber is a VIP, that this is for their eyes only. That kind of, we all love to feel special. And if your subject line can convey that, then chances are your open rates are going to show that, reflect that too. So for more information on all those tips, go and check out Mondays and Wednesdays lives. You can also check out the accompanying blog blog post that goes with all of these lives. So all of these tips are bundled into one beautiful blog post, which I will link to here in the comments, and you can go and have a little peruse at your own leisure to see all of those tips in one place. So today's tips, and I said I have 4 of them for you, so you are in for a Friday treat. The first of my tips is all around urgency or scarcity. So essentially getting across the idea that they need to read this email because there's some urgent information inside, or they need to read this email because whatever it is that you're talking about is going to run out soon. Basically, that is the idea behind urgency or scarcity. We are all fairly kind of lazy creatures. We tend to put things off that we don't have to do now. Even if we want to do something, it's generally, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll have a look at that, but not just now. I'm just doing this right now. But if you can give people that extra kind of nudge, then it helps people to open that email now and read it, because chances are if they do delay, a good percentage of those people will never come back and actually read that email, because that's human nature. So a few examples of how you can add urgency or scarcity into your subject lines. Now, this is one you have to be fairly careful with, because otherwise you do risk coming across as, super cliche, super salesy, and also just coming across as kind of spammy, which of course you don't want, because as soon as your subject line starts to look like spam, it's either going to go directly into the spam folder and never even be seen by your subscriber, or your subscriber will see it and just think, nah, spam, and move on to the next one. So it's walking that fine line and getting that balance right between creating a genuine sense of urgency or scarcity, and then going too far into the used car salesman type speak. So let's have a look at some examples. Something like something as simple as, this price is only available today, so that your reader knows that whatever offer is inside this email is only available to them today. So they know if your business is something that they're interested in, and they are would be interested in buying, it could be that a special offer just today might be enough to kind of push them off the fence and into your to becoming a customer. So something as simple as that can work really well. Just make sure it's genuine. This is the key risk with these types of kind of marketing tactics, is it needs to be genuine. You can't use a subject line, this price is only available today, and then make that price available for the following week, because then you do just come across as slightly sleazy tactics, and people won't trust you, and when you try and use those tactics again, they will just not believe them, and they'll lose their effect, and you will lose your credibility. So make sure whenever you are using these tactics, you are being absolutely genuine about it. Another example might be only 6 places left. So perhaps if you're a coach or you're selling places on a course, then literally just being clear about how many places are left. Again, you need to be genuine. It needs to be real. Don't just make stuff up, because again, you just come across as a bit sleazy. But if you've only got 6 places left, tell people, because then the chances are you've got people who are thinking, oh, well, I'll perhaps book that next week, thinking, oh no, I better book it now, because otherwise the places are going to run out. Last chance before the prices go up. So again, just giving people that push. As always, make sure it's true. Make sure you're not just using that line again and again, because people will start to lose trust in it and in you. But those are some of the ways that you can kind of create that urgency and give people that kind of extra push, not only to open your email, but to actually take action. Okay, my next tip is all around the actual words that you use. So we know that words matter, words are powerful, and when you are creating any kind of content for your business, every word matters and every word counts, and you should be choosing your words really carefully. And that is never more true than in your email subject lines, when you only have a few words to really have the impact. You want people to be taking action. You only have a few words. words to get them to do that. So every word matters. There are certain words which will help with that. So things using words which convey emotion or action will help you to kind of have that kind of powerful impact that you're looking for. Equally, there are words which are actually going to detract from that and are actually going to kind of damage your chances of getting people to open your email. There are certain words, in fact, which people's spam filters will automatically kind of see and identify as spam. So if you're not careful, you can actually have that email, completely go into people's spam folders and never actually seen by them. So you need to carefully choose your words. There are actual lists of words that you can get hold of so that you can see the types of words and phrases that you need to be careful with. Now, these lists are pretty comprehensive, and the chances are that when you look through them, you'll be thinking, well, I need to use some of these words. How on earth am I ever going to, write what I want to without using some of these words? And the key is just to be careful with it, to use them in the right context, and just to have that awareness that if you're overusing them or you're, filling your subject line with them, then there's going to be a higher chance of that email going into people's spam folders. So a few examples, and I mean, there are literally, I think, hundreds of these words, but a few examples of the types of words I'm talking about. Things like offer, bargain, discount, limited, guarantee, free. They all will kind of trigger slight warning signs in people's spam filters. So just use them with care. You don't have to just kind of go, I can never use any of these words, because you probably will struggle if that's the case. But just use them with care, use them with awareness, and don't kind of over pack your subject lines with those types of words and phrases. If you go and check out the blog post that I mentioned earlier, there's actually a link to a whole list of these types of words that trigger kind of spam filters. So if you want to see a more comprehensive list, go and check that out, and you can see that. And my very final tip, oh no, not my final tip, I've only done 2, haven't I? And my maths. I've got 2 more. So my next tip is set expectations. So this is a really simple one. Oftentimes, just being really clear and transparent about what's in your email will be enough to get people to open it. People, are often quite sort of cynical about marketing tactics and, people trying to be too clever. And actually, sometimes if you were just really clear and straightforward about what this email is about and what's in it, that will be enough, especially if you're sharing something that is valuable and that your ideal clients are going to want to see. So, for example, if you're sharing, if you're sending an email to tell people about 10 great healthy breakfasts, and your ideal clients are people who are trying to lose weight or eat more healthily, then just tell them, 10 great healthy breakfasts, or 10 healthy breakfasts to start your day, or something like that. Then they know exactly what to expect when they open the email. And it's simple, it's straightforward, it's transparent, and people appreciate that. So you can't go too far wrong with just being really clear and really open about, this is setting expectations. This is what this email is about. This is what you'll get if you open this email. And now, for real, my final tip, and that is test. So at the end of the day, and I find myself saying this an awful lot about an awful lot of different topics around online business, but it's true. At the end of the day, every audience is different. Every business is different. Every business owner is different. And so no amount of kind of tests and, industry kind of white papers and benchmarks and all of that stuff can actually tell you what your audience prefers. The only way you can discover that is by testing yourself. And if you're not testing, you're probably missing a trick. So by all means, use those kind of industry tests and benchmarks as a way to get you started and to kind of point you in the right direction. But make sure that you're testing these things yourself. Do your audience, react well to emojis? Perhaps your audience don't like emojis. Perhaps actually that's going to have a negative impact. So make sure that you try it, because otherwise you'll never know. But you then monitor those results and you're looking to see what works and what doesn't work. do your audience respond really well to just, a really, really short, sharp subject line that tells them exactly what to expect? Or do they respond really well to something a bit more flowery, perhaps a bit more funny, sarcastic? See what works for your audience and make sure that you are testing different things and seeing what they respond to best. And that's it. That's my final tip of the week, my final tip on all things subject lines. I hope you found something that you haven't tried before and that you can go away and try. If you have, then do let me know how you get on. I would love to know. And before I go, I want to tell you about a workshop, a free workshop that I am doing next week on the 28th, which is Wednesday. And this is a free workshop where I will be sharing a framework that I have created for my own business, which has basically allowed me to get results much faster, but by reducing the amount of work that I'm doing. It sounds a bit too good to be true. I promise you it isn't. When you hear it, it kind of makes a lot of sense. But we get so kind of caught up in kind of adding strategy upon strategy upon strategy that we end up, working all the hours, doing all the things, but really not getting anywhere. So in this workshop, I'm going to be sharing 3 mistakes that you may well be making in your business right now. I'm going to be talking about why none of those strategies seem to be working for you when they seem to, when they're working for other people around you, why they're not working for you. And I'm going to be sharing my entire framework. So it's a 4-part framework. And like I say, it will allow you to cut back what you're doing, cut back your hours, but actually get results faster and grow your income faster. If that sounds good to you, do come and join me. I shall leave a link to grab your spot here in the comments, and I hope to see you there. Take care, have a wonderful weekend, and I shall see you next week.